I didn't realise what capabilities you guys do have, and finding out what the SES can do at incidents and how we can all work together.
Day one had 9 Brigades Reserve Response Force settled in at the Murray Bridge Showgrounds. Saturday was Show and Tell Day, with the SES, MFS, CFS and 9 Brigade each taking turns to show off their equipment and capabilities.
I didn't know the many capabilities that ADF could supply to us. It's great to have all the manpower and all that could come under a situation like Victorian bushfires and so forth. So.
The Reserve Response Force is another group of the 9th Brigade who are contracted to perform duties in a space that supports the Government of Australia and the civilian emergency management infrastructure in responding to emergencies and disasters, and provides a group of soldiers collectively trained to deploy in support of civil agencies, be they police, fire or ambulance or any other agency, on tasks throughout Australia.
The civilian agencies got their first chance to meet 9 Brigade soldiers and look at what they're capable of. And it's clear they were happy with what they saw.
It's been brilliantly, it gives us a very good understanding of the resources and equipment that the ADF have and how that can interact with our agencies to make a better result to mitigate any emergency response that we need to undertake in the state.
The role of the RRF is to facilitate manpower to the local agencies. So in this instance, the State Emergency Services have primacy for the response, and the ADF is providing the manpower.
It is very much an educative process. The strength of the fabric in the emergency management space is very much the networking, the familiarity with the network's processes and procedures. It's much more effective if we have practice at the multi-agency environment. We know the networks that we're going to plug into, and there is a familiarity both ways in terms of our capability and what we're going to do to support the civil response agencies.
Day 2 saw the RRF divide in two. One group stayed at Murray Bridge to do asset protection, while the other moved to Sanderston, 50 kilometres to the north. Here, exercise Rhino Surge would play out as a disaster scenario. Saunders Gorge and the Marne River would be searched for flood victims.
Certainly from our perspective, we'd be very happy for the Army if they required assistance from us or wanted some skills that we may have or some resources that they've now got to contact point that they can just come to, and we'd facilitate whatever we could.
It's pretty
so stick
from Bundilla, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically stick to the marked track?
Stick to the marked track, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to drive up that track up Bundilla Road, yes you can.
DAC is where we, at the request of the state government through the Commonwealth Government to the ADF, are requested to provide some kind of support. That can be immediate support or it can be a planned support. In the case of planned support, we would get an orders from down from the ADF to indicate what is required of us, what capability can we provide, normally at a recovery phase as opposed to an immediate response. So the civil agencies have provided the immediate response. The civil agency has primacy, so it's always where they are the lead. We are providing resource to them, working with them under their control. But we do maintain our own command and control within our own resources.
Just normal cutting up and back?
Yeah, they were heading forward when we came back.
With a combined SES-ADF command post in place, the search and rescue teams set out.
Do they need to sort of mark where they haven't gone and shit like that?
And I'll explain more as we get there, as the actual line moves ahead.
The scenario is we're at day 8 of the actual occurrence. There's been 7 days of severe weather, and on day 8 the Army has responded to the actual clearance of obstacles and exposed persons and whatnot, and facilitating the backfill of displaced persons and rendering first aid.
3131, this is tail rather than to our front.
As the day wore on, it got suitably cold and wet, making the going more realistic. The soldiers were tasked with finding and assisting victims who were injured or dead. There was also the risk of injuries to themselves.
In the real world, all sorts of injuries, particularly today. We could see sprains, strains. My role is to provide med support on activities such as these, run an RAP. As an advanced medic, I can do DRABC and treat numerous injuries.
The SES provided expert advice, and both groups benefited from each other's experience in the field. It wasn't long before victims were located.
Okay, just left-hand side of the dam, I've got a male, John Chan.
They were then treated at the scene and backup called if needed.
Woman, they call Vicky, she's halfway up this cliff with a broken leg.
So how far from us is she?
30 metres.
Each victim was tagged with a list of injuries that had to be dealt with as if it was a real disaster. Vicky was stuck halfway up the embankment with a broken leg.
What's the name? Vicky.
The appropriate.
7 stop. Require vertical lift. Mortar follow over. 3-1 Kazakh from our location over.
By 1600, the river was searched and the team pulled back. They were cold and wet, but happy the job was done well.
No, that'll be. Yeah, take that one back and just give it to the DS back there.
So the points I've got is from my observations from this morning, right up until we've now been told end of X.
Rhino Surge 2010 successfully demonstrated the value of inter-agency exercises. The goodwill and cooperation shown means this type of exercise will become a regular event.
I couldn't be happier. I'm getting a very positive result from both the soldiers and also the civil agencies. It's been a great turnout from both the agencies and ourselves, and I'm looking forward to being able to do it in the future again.